Good morning, coaches. This is Tina Bradford. I will be your national hostess on today's call. I am one of the trainers here at Mortgage Coach. This call is a unique call because this call is really supposed to be about you, the lenders. What we want to make sure is we are answering your questions. We are here for you to make sure that you've learned everything you want to learn about Mortgage Coach, all the ins and outs, all the little quirks that we have in order for you to drive your business as best as possible. So first thing first, let's go ahead and drop into my little control panel here. In the question area, let me know where you're located in the U.S., how many are, what company you're with. So if you can let me know where are you located and what company are you with. Right now, we know that we're in an unusual time in mortgage. Things are still a little chaotic. We have buyers markets, we have sellers markets. There's a lot going on right now. So Ron, welcome from Raleigh, from Caliber. And Frank is always on our call. Welcome. Unfortunately, Frank, I do not have our little starlet here today, but he is here in California with us. Oak Grove, California, Newport. So Home Street. Don't be sad. I'm just as fun as Star, right? We have New Jersey. So it looks like we have them all over. Dave with affiliated in Arlington, Texas. So what I want to do is I want to make sure, again, that you guys have your questions answered. So first thing I am going to do is I'm going to drop a poll in there. I want to know how many presentations have you built? This helps me be able to understand the speed at which I teach, as well as how in-depth I go in. So letting me know how many you built will definitely help me with the training aspect. So it looks like we have more newbies on here than anyone else, and I'll show you guys the results. So 67% new people, and then it's kind of broke down. We don't have any power users. Power users are those that are 100 or more. So and we have Brad's assistant. Yes, we've had Travis before, so welcome back, Travis. So let's ask, is there anything that you've seen on Mortgage Coach or anything that you are needing to learn at this time in order to advance yourself? So is there anything personally you have that you want me to touch on right this second, because that's what I'm here to do? So I'll give you a minute to think about if there's anything you have you want me to talk about. If there's anything you want to talk about what's going on in the market. I got, I always get the expert mortgage advice from the mortgage reports. I don't know if you guys do the mortgage reports, but it had information in there about the feds, of course. And I think it's kind of funny because rates are actually driven by the bond market, but a lot of people relate it to the feds. And it talks about how rates are expected to be going up over 4% and staying there. So that was a good article because it helps us know what our clients are going to be looking towards. So it looks like there's no direct questions. So let's see if you want to watch or do any of these. So which strategy do you want to build? So if you can drop that in there, what I'll do is I will put the why in there. Why would you use this strategy? And I only have 9% voting. So if you guys can make sure that we are voting, I like to get a good 70% or more voting in there. So we're waiting just a little bit more. Okay, looks like we are tied between down payment assistant and open house flyer. So it's between those two. So if you answered annual mortgage review, if you can go back and answer either down payment assistance or open house flyer, because it's between the two. We've done open house flyer quite a few times. And this way I can break it down. So down payment assistant or open house flyer. Let's go between those two. That's all right, Frank. I'll forgive you. Okay, so we'll close the polls. It does show open house flyer, and what I'll do is I'll go through open house flyer, and what we can do is I will use down payment assistance as the product in the open house flyer. So really show you guys how to integrate, because all of this does integrate within each other. So when you are doing an open house flyer, it's a great presentation because it is one of our realtor facing presentations to co-brand us with that realtor. So there's a couple of ways that you can use this. You can use it again as the realtor facing, and you can use it as a client facing. So initially, let's talk about the realtor facing. Has anyone in here used an open house flyer before or done open house flyer? So if you have, go ahead and raise your hand. If you want, we can even unmute. There's not a whole bunch of people. We could even unmute the phone and let you talk if you'd like to talk. So we have Ron and Ross. And if you want to say something about your experience with the open house flyer, drop it in the question. I'll unmute you and let you, or actually I'll just make it so you can unmute yourself if you want. So Ron has billed it, but not with Mortgage Coach. So that's great to know. How about you, Ross? You've used Mortgage Coach to build it. And sorry, someone wants to call me. So Andrew also has used the open house flyer. Have you used the Mortgage Coach open house flyer? So in the open house flyer, there's two ways to use it. As I said, towards the realtor. So if you are someone who is really focused on right now building that realtor relationships, this is how I would suggest you to use the open house flyer. Go into, find a realtor you want to target. Go to their individual site. I'm going to use, let's use Eric Mine. Eric Mine and I graduated together back in the day. So let's see. So if I wanted to target him to be able to drive business towards him, I'm going to go in right here to his home page. And I'm going to see what homes he has listed or open houses for. So let's click on open house. So let's see, find a home. We'll figure it out here. So now that I have find a home listed, he has his homes here that he is working on. So I'm going to find one that he's going to do an open house on. I might even call his office and say, you know what, is Eric Mine doing an open house this weekend? If so, what's the address on that property he's doing the open house on? I'm going to do my base work first, because when you do the base work first, okay, let's see if the sharing went off. There we go. Did it come back on, Eric? For some reason, my sharing stopped. Can everyone see my screen? Yay, nay. If you can see my screen, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go through, and Eric has some interesting properties in here. He is in the Kansas City, Kansas, Missouri, right on the border there. And I'm going to ask, what home is he doing an open house on this weekend? Because that's the one I want to focus on. So when they tell me which one they're going to do the open house on, I'm now going to come in and I'm just going to assume it's this property here. So I'm going to build an open house presentation on this property. So what I'm going to do is make this a little smaller so you can see where I'm dragging it. But I'm going to come in and I'm going to drag the photos over, and grabbing the little photo, and I'm going to pull it right onto my desktop. This is going to allow me, whoops, I don't want that one. Let's find a different one. I love kitchens. For some reason, kitchens always make homes sell a little faster, and this is a beautiful kitchen. And I'm going to pull 3 photos over. And this is my pre-work when I'm going into building that open house presentation. I know what I have to pull for the open house presentation. I need to know the information about the property itself. I will also need his logo if I've never built a presentation, and I need a picture of Eric. So I'm going to pull that over as well. So now I have the photos that I need here. So we're going to go back one so we can stay on the home information. But I also want to open this up in another tab so I don't lose the home, so I can have Eric's personal information. Now that I have all this open and separate, I'm going to do a split screen. I'm going to pull over so I have half of my screen here, and now I'm going to pull these ones over to this half. And this allows me to be able to type directly from one to the other. So going over here, I'm going to start with a new client. We're going to assume this is the first time I've ever worked with Eric. Now, a new partner, not a client, because we're doing the open house. So any information on partner, this is all about Eric. So I'm going to put in his information. And I have his phone number as well right here. And I like using the copy and paste. I use copy and paste because it's less likely that I make a typo. So I don't want to make those typos. And he's a realtor. And we went to high school together. And this, for the friendly name, I always put the property address. And I'll show you why after we built the presentation. So now we're going to advance to the next screen. This is pretty easy to fill in. I'm basically filling in all the information about the house. So it shouldn't take very long to just fill it out, especially if you have the split screen like I do right here. Now the show on map. This is only for you. If you're unsure of where it's located in your city, you can go in and you can click on the show on map. And you can see exactly where it's located, but it doesn't trigger anything in the presentation. Asking price, this one's a little expensive for down payment assistance, but we'll still add it on there. We'll do the pretend. Square footage, 4781, 4 beds, 4.5 baths. And then the listing link is the web address. And again, using that copy from and then pasting it right in there so you don't make the mistakes. Now when you click on features, you can choose whichever features you want for the home. So this is a single family home. And I would go through down here, I would read in order to find out the information. Now the one thing I do want to make sure I include is this is horse property. So I can add a custom fee and I can add horse property. Down here, I can also add 25 stalls because that might be significant to someone later on. Then I would click whichever, and I'm going to click random information. Actually, it's probably not. There is a swimming pool. And once I'm happy with all of my features, I'm going to click on OK. Now, if I come back and Eric says, I really don't want the features listed, it's easy to unlist them. I don't have to uncheck them. I just need to check the box. So that will remove the features from your presentation. Let's leave them on there so we can all see where they're located. Now this comes to the image, and you saw before I did pull those images over. They're right over here on my desktop. So I'm going to download the images by clicking Browse, making sure that I have desktop over here chosen, and then I can go through and find the photos. So we'll open up that one. Now put your name and description. This is solely for you, so you can choose to leave it the way it is, or you can change it if you want to change it. But it does not have an impact on the presentation anywhere. And let's do the last one. Now that we have the photos in there, we can advance forward. Now we're going to go to products. So let's do a pretend. We're going to pretend, because we are in a world that we can do this. We're going to pretend that that property is actually worth 1 less 0. There we go. So now it's going to make a little more sense when we do come in and use down payment assistance. So let's say the first product we're going to do is an FHA, 3.5% with a My Home. So if you're not familiar with My Home product, My Home is one of the down payment assistance programs. It supplies either 3 or 4% upfront closing for the borrower. I even believe that there's not a first-time home buyer. No, actually, there is a first-time home buyer requirement on this one. It does require the minimal income brackets. So depending on where you live will be the income that you have to look at. It's a 30-year at 2.5% interest rate. So it's a silent second. Now that we're in here, I'm going to go in and put my 3.5 interest rate. I'm going to put in there as 2.5. Or no, the interest rate is the FHA interest rate, which I believe was 4.25 yesterday. And then 360 months. So is anyone in here familiar, or have you used My Home or the My Home with the Zip product? So because combining those two together is actually really good. So if you have experience using My Home or My Home and the Zip product, let me know in the question area. So I want to know how that worked for you. I have a couple of lenders who have people in their pipelines that are stacking the two together. So Ron has not used it. Anyone else? Anyone used it? Great products. So, yep, good layering product. I was actually going to look into it to see if you could layer the third product, which would be that platinum bond. So very, very great. In Sacramento, very popular. So now that we have this information in here, we're going to advance forward. We're going to add our normal closing cost. So let's go ahead and pull it out of estate. I'm not sure what I have in here. And there's the 30-year FHA. Now what I'm going to add is I'm going to add that My Home down payment assistant. And I'm going to say they're taking the 4% total. So I'm going to add a custom fee. I'm going to do down payment assistant, and I'm going to call it My Home. And the reason why I want to give it a name is because if I want to use the same one later on, I already have it in my system, and my clients are going to be able to identify it in the closing cost sheet underneath the payments, the closing cost fee details. So the one thing you also want to make sure that you do is you want to click on the prepaid default escrow. This takes it out of the short-term investment area. So unless you know that they can use it towards APR fees, then you want to remove it from all of it so it doesn't impact the APR fees. So then we're going to click on OK. Now we're going to do the 4%, but in order for it to be removed from the closing cost, I have to put that -4 in there, and then we have that negative amount right here we can see. Now you can place it now, seller, borrower, broker. I leave it on the borrower because this is money for the borrower. They will owe it, so I want them to be able to see it. Sorry. And now we're going to apply it to the loan. So you can see here in that prepaid escrows, we have that $15,000. We can add our prepaid days of interest. If you have points, add points, earnest money, anything in there you need. And now we have the monthly cost. I'm just going to use my California 0.35 and 1.25 factors. But of course, I would use whatever's relevant in my market. And now you can see the one thing I missed when I was building is I forgot to click that is an FHA loan. And the reason why I know is because I did not put that upfront MI. So if we look on this first page, upfront premium, you need to come down and click FHA to advance forward. Now we have our upfront premium. We know that's 1.75. And moving on forward, we have our mortgage insurance we need to add, and we know that's 8.5. There is no cutoff. It is FHA, so no cutoff. Now this calculate MI on balance. This is information for you. If it is a government loan, you want to make sure that you do calculate it on the balance. The way that the government does their MI is at the end of each month after that payment, they reduce the MI based on the total amount owed. Now, in-house, most in-house products do not do that. They calculate it annually, so it stays the same. So we have a question, can we do custom and or do you have the Unison product in our product list? It's an investor shared down payment assistant product. Also, can I do comparisons of no cost loan versus 0-point loan? The answer is we do not have the Unison product in there. That is something you would have to add in there because, Ross, everyone has different products that they have available to them. Some people don't have the same broker or investor list as others, so we don't put individual investor products into it, but you can add it, or you can even have, if it's a product your office always use, you can have your manager have a template built for the closing cost on that. And then comparison of no cost loan versus a 0-point loan. That is possible because you can take the cost out of when you're doing your closing cost details. You can apply those costs to anyone paying them. So you can absolutely show that no cost loan, and then the 0-point loan is always the one that's displayed in the system. So hopefully that answered your questions on there. Now we want to add our hazard insurance reserves. And if you collect the 12 months, and this is your typical loan scenario here, now we'll add a second product in there. So let's say we're going to do that second product. We're going to do an in-house 5%. So 5% down, and we're going to do it with the My Home again because we can stack them. Actually, I'm going to put with a second and a third. So if I had both the My Home and the Zip product, this is how you would display if you are working with both of them. Now the downfall of doing it this way is we know that second is at 2% interest rate. So we are not showing them the actual cost of the interest rate. That would have to be a separate scenario on just that single loan that you create, or you could just do a basic amortization schedule on a website, or if you have internal software. Now we're going to copy it from the FHA. We need to remove the FHA to none. If the interest rate is different, I'm going to say it's 4.125. We can advance forward, change the closing cost over to the, I'll say it's the 30 or 10% down, so the same fees that I would use. Apply that to the loan, but we need to go in and add in those down payment assistance. So going back into there, let's add, we already have that My Home in there, so down payment assistance. I'm going to just keep clicking the D, add fee. Okay, it's not liking me today. Here's the My Home. Let's give it that -4. And you see it already has that PPE button checked for me, so I don't have to remember to put that on there. Now we need to add the ZIP. So down payment assistance, ZIP program. ZIP program, it is a 3% no interest silent second. So we're going to add that 3%. So let's assume, I'm going to throw in another curveball in there. Oops, I clicked the wrong button here. What if they are not allowed to cover, they have to have their own 3% in there to start off with in order to cover part of the cost? So that's another scenario where you'll have to add that 3% to here, subtract it from the closing cost, and then subtract that from the purchase price. So it will require you doing a little bit of math, and we'll see that math here when I do this just by me subtracting out the extra amount of money from the loan that we're building. So apply that to the loan. You'll see the other fields are filled in. We will need to change that mortgage insurance, so 0.9%. And we're going to go ahead and advance forward. I'm not going to worry about this part yet. I'm going to go into presentation because I need to see how much money do I have left available in order to apply it to that loan. So I'm going to generate that link and open it up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We see we have $3,424 cash coming back after closing. We know that we don't have that. That's not something that we're allowed to do. So I need to apply this money towards the loan. So coming back over here on that second product, I'm going to increase my down payment amount. Let's see, what's the closest? I'm just going to use rounding numbers, $3,500. So let's add $3,500 to the down payment. Whoops. I think that's right. Or not. Let's see how close we are. So in order for me to save it, to have it change over, I do need to advance forward, clicking that next. So it will change over here. So $129. So we're really close. I don't think anyone's going to complain to me if I say you need to bring in $129 at closing to buy your home. So I'm not going to worry about it. It's an estimate at this point. The end numbers you can really change up as you are doing that custom presentation for your client. So let's go back over here because we have a few things left to complete. Now that we have our numbers all done, going back to analysis, changing these as needed. Short term, we have it preset at 60. It matches that TILA RESPA requirement. I like placing the long term at 10 personally because this is the new 7. People are moving, refinancing within 10 years. And then we'll advance forward. Contact information is everything about Eric. So we would put his name, Reese Nichols, fax number if he had it on there, cell phone number. We have his email on here. Is it going to let me? Nope. It's going to kick me out. I knew it. Okay, let me go back in. We'll copy this one because I did that before. So the great thing is when it does kick you out, it brings you right back to that last page. And it did put it in there. Email address. So let's see if it's going to let me copy that email address. There we go. His license number. So I'm going to look on here. If I can't find his license number on here, I am going to look it up. The reason why I want to make sure that it is on here is because it protects him as a realtor. So we want to make sure that we do have him protected. and then his web address. And I'll show you why all this information is so important to put into this top part. Now, street address, city address, state, zip, I'm not going to worry about this. This is not on the presentation. So for me personally, if it's not on the presentation, I'm not going to take my time out and put the information in. Advancing forward, headshots. We pulled that over. Let's see, there's Eric. And then the logo is on here as well. And because I already have uploaded the photos, it was already ready for me to be on that same spot for uploading the other two. Now we have it chosen. If I want to remove a product, it's the same as a total cost analysis, just clicking or unclicking. Presentation title. So let's go back over here. What I like doing is I like trying to pull something out that the realtor has already put in there. Reason why is I want to make sure that I'm showing alignment with their marketing already. Yes, I have a question from Stan. Is Mortgage Coach user-friendly on the Android tablets? Absolutely. So you can use it on the Android tablets if you have a Surface. Surface right now, we are actually in their commercial. We're very proud of it. It's at 14 seconds in, you see a Mortgage Coach presentation on the Surface commercial. So it's usable on both formats. So presentation title, I'm going to just copy right here. Now I might come back and make it look prettier using capital letters for each of them, explanation point, anything you want to draw that attention in there. It's because you can use it on your Android phone, Stan, you can use it on any Android product as well. So it is downloadable, and you would just use it the same as you would the program on the phone. So it's good. Pricing label. This is the label. Yes, it is, Stan. Even on the larger screen, you're still good with it. Pricing label. This is the label that you place in front of the price. So let's look on here, his price. And because of this arrow, I know that there's been a price drop. So I'm going to place something in there based on the price drop. So new low price maybe. My computer's being really slow. And then notes, if I want any payment notes, such as escrows included, actual payment might be different than here. This is only an estimate. Any information that's going to help protect you as the loan officer, make sure we're placing it in that note area. Now we'll advance forward. You are allowed to choose 2 images. So let's go ahead and choose a couple images. Let's choose this one for the first image. You could toggle up here. And this one for the second, advancing forward. Now, I'm not going to click it just because I don't want Eric to get an email because we used his actual email address. But if I was working with Eric on this home, I would definitely click this button to make sure that Eric got an alert every time someone viewed the presentation. So also on myself. Now, if I'm using it only as a marketing piece, my personal likes is that I don't like to be notified unless I know the person that I'm sending it to. So in this case, I'm sending it to Eric. I want to know when Eric opens it up. I want to know when he looks at it. Now, if I am sending it out as a marketing piece, if I'm placing it in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, if I'm doing any of those, I'm personally not going to have it so it notifies me because I don't want to get all those extra emails where someone's gone in and looked at it and I have no idea who they are. So we add that quote date, protect both of us, and I've already generated the link. So let's go over to that link already generated, and you'll see Eric's information is on there, as well as Sammy's samples, and it is co-branded. Now let's bring it up on the phone as well, because I want to show you a few aspects on the phone that makes it really nice. So let me find my phone. Let's make sure that's floating on top so we don't lose it again. There we go. So here we have Sammy Sampler on here, and let's cover up that second screen. We don't need it anymore. And let's move Sammy up into this top so it's out of the way. So we can see here, Luxury Horse Farm, the address, new low price. I should have capitalized new. Make sure you are going back and editing your presentation. You want it to look as clean and crisp as possible so people know you're really investing time into it. Closing and prepaids, we can see the closing cost here. We have that extra money, and then cash to close is right here, so we can see how much extra we need to bring in. Interest rates. And again, you can highlight just like you do on a total cost analysis, simply placing it on top of the cell and clicking the button. And if you get a little crazy like this where everything's highlighted, clear it out. Payment stream, you can go in there and see the payment stream. Because you're using it, if you were using the ARM loan, it would be different. So the FHA also has a difference. And the reason why is because of the MIP on there. That's why payment stream comes up here. Fee details. Fee details list out the itemized fees in here for your borrower. And you have it for both products, so nothing surprising there. You can see, and this is why I wanted to put that DPA and the name, is because the clients can see exactly which down payment assistant we're suggesting to use on the property. We have our features, and we have it co-branded. Now let's look at the phone, because the phone is great. We have the co-branding. So let's, we're going to go find that presentation. So going into partners, we have Eric right up there. And let's open the open house flyer. And we're just going to click on the, actually, let's do video first. So video, you want to do video just as you do on your total cost analysis. Same rules apply, but you know what? You can have a little longer message on here because you want to cover as much as possible about creating a custom presentation for them. So when you go into doing your presentation, go over, you know what? These are the couple of the loan scenarios I'm suggesting. However, we can change and customize it to your personal needs. I'd love to build you a personal total cost analysis for you and your family to get you into your next new home. So really customize it for the client. One of the great things using your phone is you can go in and you can do it with your partner. So whoever you're working with, in this case, I would say, hey, Eric, let's do a video together. And we could even turn it this way so it's easier for both of me and Eric to be on there. Or we can use a device to hold it or ask someone else to video for you. That's a great tool as well. So really making sure you're using your mobile to your best advantage. On there, include, if you touch on myself or on Eric, this is a video digital business card. From here, you can contact us. Also, you have the ability to send it to yourself. If you see the word share on the screen, clicking on share, you're able to send the presentation directly to your own iPhone or mobile device, as well as you can email it to yourself. Same way, clicking on video, talking through the presentations. You know, I'm so excited to show you this home. This is a great home. Here's some great aspects about the home. We're showing you a couple of products about the home, yada, yada, yada. You get the picture. Stopping the video and using. Now, I do want to show you, once you have put that video on there, when I go back in here, what I am going to do is I'm going to go back into the open house flyer, back into video, and I'm going to now choose the loop. I want to loop the video because if I'm going into an open house, I don't want to push start each time or play each time. So this is going to make it so I don't have to babysit my iPad or my Surface or my Android product, whatever product I'm showing it on, I don't have to babysit it. So let's go back now that we're done with that. We're going to go back into Eric and do open house flyer, and I'm going to click on live reporting just so I can highlight as I go through to show you. So we can see the piece right here, and it's the same presentation, and I just want to make it bigger. Or not. Okay, we'll leave it little. So it's the same presentation. If I click on Sammy, now my client can click directly on the phone number and they're able to call me directly from here. So they have a direct contact to me. Same with the email. Sharing the link is in this corner. You can email it or text it. If you're on an Android product, it's the less than sign with the 3 dots, and you have a lot more choices on how to share on an Android. But not only does it have me like that, but Eric, any information I put on Eric, and this is why it's important to make sure it's as complete as possible, because now we can contact Eric as well to make sure that he's kept in the loop. We have our property features as well as our payment options. Just like on the other, you're able to touch and highlight. And this is in the live mode, so if you were in the same presentation, it would be moving your screen with you. So if you haven't played with the live mode, I suggest doing it with a colleague. Really get to know how to do those presentations. We can go into the graph and really see which one's going to be a better option. And then we have our picture. It has the 2 dots. That allows you to toggle back and forth between the 2 pictures simply by touching the photo. Now, if you're on the iPad, both photos do show up on an iPad or any of the little devices such as them. So any questions you have on the open house flyer? So any questions whatsoever, even if it's not on the open house flyer, if you down payment assistance, you would do a grant the same way I did the silent second. And the reason why we do them this way is because there's no payment on either of them. The grant, of course, typically is a 5-year, 20% each year, dissipates. And then on the silent second, there's no payment until the end of 30 years. So just by throwing it in there as a credit is the easiest way to demonstrate it to the client. But you always want to make sure that the client is aware that they will have extra fees. Great. So Frank was going to ask me about the grants. Again, same way that you do the silent seconds. So it is that way. So looks like there is no questions. Let's go ahead and open it up. Is there anything that this has brought to mind that you need answered about Mortgage Coach? You're working on a project, you don't know how to do it, you want to know how to do it. There's several different, I know a few products like renovation loans. We're seeing more renovation loans because people have equity in their market or in their home, but they don't have enough money to move up. So we're seeing a few more renovation type loans, 203K refinance type. What else are we seeing more of? Okay, great question. And let me really quick, Stan, I actually have a Android phone myself. So his question is based on the Android phone. So let me see if I can quickly attach my Android phone and answer that for you. So I don't typically put my Android phone on there because it has me as a bunny, and I don't like accidentally going to that page, and that's a true story. I'm a little silly, as some of you know, if you've been on this call like Frank. I'm the one that's a little more silly. So let's see if it's going to mirror my phone. I'm going to have to quit that program really quick and go back into it. Great. So here's my phone, and let's make sure it's responding before I bring it over. Sometimes it doesn't respond when it connects. Okay, so here's my phone, and I would log in just like normal. So only a few difference between the Android and your iPhone. So if you want to send a presentation to a client, it's on your Android, you're going to go in, you're going to find that client you want to send it to. You're going to choose the presentation you want. The three little dots right here is the quickest way for you to send it. But make sure you attach a video first. And when you click on there, you'll see everyone's down here. You'll see you have a lot more choices on how you send it. I can even cast it right to my TV. So it's a lot different there. But what is exciting about the Android, we've been saying for months with the Android that the edit feature is coming onto the phone. So if you go into your presentation now, you should see the edit client. It is supposed to be live and running, and it is very similar to the edit on the iPhone. So I'm suggesting don't try to build a whole presentation from here. What you want to do is you want to just update prices, update interest rates. It scrolls just like the iPhone with your finger at the top, choosing products. You can now go in there, you can change the purchase price, interest rate. But on the iPhone, you have, when you scroll all the way down, you have the word next. On here, you don't have the word next. You just click into the next screen. So if you wanted to do one product and then go back into another product, clicking back on product takes you back to that previous screen. So if you have the iPhone again, now you should have that capability to edit in the field, thankfully. So it is all here just like the iPhone. We want to make sure that anything you do on your browser, you're able to do on your phone. Now, if you are on the iPhone and you find a little glitch, please be kind and email us at support@mortgagecoach.com. Tell us that the scenario, what happened during that scenario, maybe even give us a link to the presentation you were working on so we can kind of look into it to see if we can figure out what happened with that link or what happened with that presentation. Because we really have worked for a long time to try to get all the bugs out, and we want to make sure that we do have them all out. So that is the newest thing that we've just rolled out here. So any other questions you have on a Android? Okay, so going back to a ready-made, I'll go back into Sang. Do you want to see the actual report, Stan? Do you want me to unmute you, Stan, so you can just talk to me? Oh, you're not connected to audio, actually, so I can't do that. So let's go into, I'll do live reporting so I can highlight. So here is the Android phone. So what is it you want to know? Basically, it's very similar. The layout with the Android and the iPhone are pretty much identical in this section. The only one spot that is different between the two is for me to share in this page, I have to click on the share link at the bottom, where for an iPhone to share, they click on here and that share link is in this area. So, and even though for some reason it's in white, you can't see it as well, but it's there, all the information. So is there a particular question you had, Stan, about seeing it on the Android? And I have one of the larger Galaxies. That's which phone I have. So after you share, will the app link go directly to the client with the report? Okay, so let's go ahead And I will share this link with you. If you want to type in your phone number down there, I will send you a message and I'll take it off the screen in order for people not to see your number. So we will keep Stan secret from everyone else. So let me type it in. Ron, you want it too? Okay, if anyone else wants a copy of the presentation, just let me know. I'm happy to send it to you. But do note, if you already have Mortgage Coach on your phone, then you will not see it exactly the way your clients will. It will be a little different than the way your clients, it'll come up, you'll get the same email they get, but you won't be prompted to download the software. Or at least I don't believe I was when I initially did it. And I'm typing numbers as fast as possible. And please don't use this phone number because this is my personal phone. I don't use it for business typically, but the other phone is not connected to service. So I do ask that you keep my phone number private. Thank you, Stan. And we're almost done. Okay, and I just sent link. Now, if I was to send this to a client, what I would do before, because it does just send the link on the Android, where on the iPhone, it sends the information. It sends, here is your Mortgage Coach analysis with the link. On the Android, it sends just a link. So make sure you are on both phones customizing it for your client. You want to make sure that your clients know that it's just for them and that you've taken that time, because if you're just sending the link by itself, it kind of looks a little like you didn't put the time and effort in you could have. So the more time and effort you show your clients that you're putting into them, the happier they are. And just like the total cost analysis, when they get this, they're assuming you've put 2 or 3 hours into creating this presentation. But if you've been building them, if you've built over 20, more likely, it's going to take you 10 minutes at most to build the presentation, to have it up and running, especially if you're one of those that have an integration that's pushing over your pricing and everything. It should not take very long to build it in. Couple of time savers. Let's go into a few time savers. We have a little extra time. Make sure that you are building in product templates. Let me go into one that I know has a product built. And when I say product templates, I am talking about, such as this is a 5% down FHA. So here is where the template would be if I had one already built in here, and more likely this account does have it in there. But if you do not have that template built in there, coming over here at the end and choosing Save as Template. Save it as the FHA 5% and click on OK. Now when I go in and I build out another product, I can simply go back and choose the FHA. Now remember, any information you put into the 3 screens, it's going to be pulled over when you pull over this template. So let's go down to FHA 5%. If I click on that, it'll pull it over. So it's identical to what I previously built. Then I can go in and I can make changes as needed. Now, if you don't want to have like purchase price and all of that in there, I can now go into my settings. I can go into my product templates, and let's find that template because I actually want to delete it out. FHA 5% should be in here. Maybe it's the top one, or maybe it didn't save it. So we'll just show you, where's one that's, there it is, the very bottom. So FHA 5%. Maybe I don't want to have that interest rate in there. I want to have to fill that in. Prepaid dates interest, all of that's correct. I can go into my closing cost details. I have those down payment assistance already in there. So maybe I want to remove the down payment assistant program from there. Let's see, where is it at? Oh, no, it's not in here because I changed it over before I did it. So if I had that, I could remove it. Wanting to make sure everything's correct on this screen. Monthly cost. Making sure my mortgage insurance is in there. My upfront mortgage MIP is listed. Hazard insurance, everything is set. So all I need to do is choose that program. You can do it based on, because we know the monthly costs are different based on the LTV. So you could do the 95% more, less than 95%. FHA, I suggest having the major ones in there that you use. Conventional, if you do a conventional 5%. Have purchase and refi on there for your templates. So when you go in, it's nice and fast. It's going to save so much time when you can just click a template, add 3 or 4 items, and then move on from there. So I do want to check, did you get the links for the people that I sent over the links to? You should have already received those emails. So let me know if you did receive those emails. So it looks like absolutely. So Stan is talking about having the program installed on the phone. So best practice when it comes to sending over via text is that you want to set them up in the beginning when you're talking to them. Let them know in that initial conversation, listen, I always like to do a total cost analysis for my clients. I like to break it down so you completely understand the products that we've discussed, because you have choices as a borrower. Now, when I send that total cost analysis over, I suggest opening it on your phone. And this is the reason why. If you're out in the field and you need to have a price change, or if you want to see the impact of the interest change, because we do know in this market interest is changing daily, then you want to have it on your phone. This is a software application that you will need to download on your phone. It is a safe application and it takes up minimal space on your phone. If you look at when you download it, the amount of space that Mortgage Coach takes, our guys in our office have made sure to create it in such a way that it takes up very little room on your phone. So we want to make sure that we aren't using a lot of space. So set it up better, or set it up in the beginning. So when you send that initial link over, Stan, if you make any changes to that presentation, then those changes are automatically updated for your client. So you don't need to send a new link every time. Now, if you do change it over, maybe you initially built them a rent-to-own presentation and you change it over, you know what product they're using, but now they're looking at different price points. You're going to resend them a link that has just the total cost analysis with the different price breaks. So it depends on how many presentations you build for your client. But if you're just updating that single one presentation, you never have to send them a new link. And we have actually gotten a lot of feedback lately that we have several of our loan officers that are getting old clients that never deleted the software off their phone. They still have that link and they are going into the link months, even years later, and it's alerting the LO, so they're able to now know, hey, something's going on. I need to call them because they're thinking about doing something. So that is another reason why you want to make sure that they do have it on there. So any other questions before we wrap up the call and I let you guys go have a great day? So you're welcome, Stan. I'm glad that you can use it. We definitely want to make sure that you guys have the best use of your time and that you guys are really good here. Now, if you've been on the call before, you know we always close our calls with showing you where help is as well as the calendar. If you want to go ahead and jump off at this time, I won't feel bad, but I don't want to waste your time. I want to make sure you have the most productive time possible. And let me show you if you do need help while you're in here. Clicking on help will take you to the keyword search. Let's go ahead and type in strategies. That's a great one to do if you are not familiar with our strategies. We have a list of top strategies by clicking right into here. We also have our support button down here at the bottom. The reason for the support button is so you can email us or talk to us live, depending on if they're available on help. So let's say we're working on a move up. So it'll type in move up, and we can see right now that Robert or Marcy, someone is on live chat, and they might just be hanging out. Let's see if they respond to us. So we're going to quickly see if there's any response. So you'll type in you want support. And then you'll click there. When they are ready, it will come back. Like I said, they might not exactly be at their desk, but they are trying to respond within 2 to 3 minutes max. There's only 2 people working in the support line at a time. So it's something that we're working on, up and coming new. So we'll see if that does come up. And let me show you another area that we have great information. A lot of times it's missed. If you go to mortgagecoach.com, and you come over here and click on total cost analysis, there is a plethora of information in here for you. If you go into, and this is my favorite spot, the example total cost analysis, you have high performing LOs, you have what company they're with, the strategy they've used, the presentation they've chosen, as well as the market that they are working in. So you can really see how they're presenting it in their market. A lot of these also have videos already connected on there. So you can go in and you can check their stuff out. They have been kind enough to share with us to help the Mortgage Coach community grow. We also have the other area is strategies. Strategies also goes in, and there's a lot of information in here. Now we also have one other thing, and it didn't go in. So one other one I do want to show you, and I'm going to provide the link for this. This is a call that was just done a couple days ago between our CEO, Dave Savage, and Jeremy Foyer. Now, this is if you are trying to drive your business with realtors. Jeremy talks about how he gets realtors into his back pocket. And I did drop that into the little chat box for all of you that link to that YouTube. My homework to you is go watch this video, especially if you want to start working with realtors or you need more realtors in your back pocket for your business. Jeremy is amazing at it, and he does give some good insight on how to help drive that business for you. So hopefully you've had a great day today with me, and I hope that my little starlet is back next week. Thank you, Stan, and thank you all for joining me. Again, have a great productive week. Bye-bye. You're welcome, Ron.